Are you ready? Okay, let's do this. So week one, I'm going to give you a lot of information about how all of this works. So the first thing I want to let you know is that week one is actually not a fable. It's explaining the book and the way the structure's set up. So I'm going to give you a lot of little tips in this video. The first thing I want to let you know, and the first off the cuff, I want to tell you right away that I don't necessarily follow any kind of, I'm never in order, and that's what I'm saying. So I may give you information that's like your brain's trying to catch up. So the first thing I want to let you know is that the whole journey of the toolkit is to reawaken within you what you already know. And I want you to breathe, and I want you to drop your shoulders, and I want you to understand this concept about the whole chakra wisdom oracle collection behind me. In the Oracle collection, we are working on the fables. We are working on how the fables actually affect us, how storytelling affects us, and the stories we tell ourselves. So one of the things I want to say right away is there's a huge difference between your brain and your intuition. So if you're trying to follow me with your brain, you will feel lost and you will want to quit. If you drop that notion and just say, you know what, I already know all this, and my spirit is simply being reminded. So I want you to just let go of what you think you're supposed to know, because your rational mind will not follow some of this. Your rational mind will go, that doesn't work, that doesn't make any sense, that's stupid. So breathe. So the first thing I'm going to tell you in that is that, and you may even find that there is a big difference of when I get into how to read the cards for yourself and others. That's the more advanced book. We're going to talk today about week one in the toolkit, which talks about darkness, dawn, and light. Now, those are the three aspects of the fable. Now, why that becomes important is because in how to read the cards for yourself and others, I talk about the 7 aspects of the chakra. So there's a lot more information that's going to come down the road. But I think the most important place to start is where I started, and where everyone who has found their purpose through these cards and through this incredible teaching that I've learned myself from, is that it will work with you and who you are. And one of the most important tips I will give you about card reading is the reading comes through you, not to you. I want you to get that differential. That a real reading comes through you, not to you. That means if it's coming to you, it's a thought, it's a decision, it is your brain. If it's coming through you, it's really spirit moving you. Now, when it comes through you, your brain will try to shut it down. Okay. Now, a lot of that I covered more in depth in that other book, and so I want to get really into this one. So, because I think it's very important, but I will be giving you advanced tips as we go. So don't take it like, oh, she's all over the place. No, I'm going to give you tips that I know you intuitively will remember later. So in week one, you're going to notice that week one isn't actually a fable. It's out of the darkness and into the light. And it says, approaching the fables. Now, the reason this becomes very important is that the fables themselves are a structure of tools. They are organized in chakra. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the red chakra at the end of this video. And I'm hoping that these videos go about 20 minutes, but I'm just going to go until they're done. And I think that's very important. So the first thing you want to look at is the message of the week will always be at the top there. You're going to see it says message of the week. I don't know if you can see it, but in your book, it'll say the same thing. So I'm going to encourage you to open your book and follow along with me so that you can kind of see where we are. Okay. So the other thing you're going to see is Tori's tip, but I want you to remember something. I wrote this book 4 or 5 years ago. So a lot of my work has evolved, and I've learned through this as well. So I'm going to be giving you new information that's not just on the page, but the Tori's tip pretty much sets up the understanding for the fable and for how intuitively it's going to work with you. And you know what? If you read that fable and it means something else to you, that's fine. It's just how you relate to the issue is the issue. So if something puts you into upset, then you go, oh, that's interesting, I'm upset. Again, that's neutral observer, which is another tool We're going to work with that another time. All right. So one of the things that I want you to get is this week is a week to work through. So we're not going to just not work this week. If you look at the Monday exercise, it says understanding of Fable's 3 aspects, and it says darkness, dawn, and light. Now, the thing that's most important, and I'm going to give you the overview here of what you'll see. I want you to read this because I want you to understand that each fable is like a card. It will have a darkness, a dawn, and a light story to it. So I use this example quite a bit, but for example, the joy card, people will see the joy card and go, oh, good, it's happy. Is it? Because if we look at it as darkness, dawn, and light, it has 3 aspects to it. The fable can actually be saying to you, maybe I don't have enough joy. Do I have enough joy? Or maybe I give joy and leave the room, which is what's happening in the fable. Or am I one of the other characters in the fable? And that's another thing that starts to deepen your own awareness around card reading, and these cards in particular. Are you the main character in the fable? Or perhaps are you or the person you're reading the other character? And I'll be talking about that a little bit as we go on, but just to use the joy card as an example, which is 3rd chakra, it's in the yellow. But again, I'll be going into that in more depth, but what I want to point out is that just because a card says, confusion, that doesn't mean it's a bad card. I think it's very important to get the idea that it is a message. And so many spiritual people say, oh, it's just a message. Well, it can scare the heck out of you. When you see a card that you go, oh my gosh, it's a graveyard. Well, however, that's also an honoring of a passage of time. And it's also recognizing that you have taken on that heritage. So there are some very important things that if we look at it more as, oh, I'm observing how I'm relating to that fable. So what happens in here is that you want to notice, are you in the darkness? Like, is it not known to you? Are you in the dawn where it's starting to come into your awareness that something's going on? Or are you in the light where it's, oh, I get this? And I think I shared that in one of my, one of my prequel things for the toolkit is, I don't know till I know, but the thing is that I didn't make meaning of some of the information that was being given to me. So the thing I want to say about that is that the darkness actually becomes your aloneness. It is also, it also can be, it is warm in this room today. I'm sorry, everybody. I just want to look at this and see, okay, that's another thing I want to mention. The original title of the fables, what I called them when they were coming through, was Out of the Darkness and Into the Light. Because the idea is we start in darkness, we progress through the dawn, right, where we start to recognize things, and then the light is our highest calling. I'm just going to move this a little bit so it's straight. Okay. So what you want to get in our conversation here is that there's no bad position. Sometimes being in the dark is where we've had to be. It may be that we weren't aware of something till we're aware of it. And it's about accepting the point we're at. So now when you see those 3 aspects, you can look at, wow, so I could put 3 cards down and right now potentially have 9 different points of view before I even look at them. I could have a darkness, dawn, or light in each position, right? So when I say the fable itself, that first joy card could be, is it the darkness? Is it the dawn? Is it the light? So I was doing a reading for somebody with it, and I said, it's really, and it was in the middle card, and I said, this is really interesting. I think you're starting to see how much happiness you've brought others and how you're not allowing yourself that happiness. And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's the dawning, right? So we look at, it's very important to get that split of 3 different aspects to a fable story. That's different than the 7 aspects of a chakra. So that's where I'm starting to differentiate with the toolkit. And this is really kind of a basic idea of how this works. Really mastering it is much more in the reading, in the other training. But you don't need that right now. All you need to do is work on it through who you are, and these cards are going to start coming to you. So don't worry if I say, oh, that's in that. Don't worry about that. You're getting everything you need in the moment, and enough to kind of have these cards start to make sense to you and this journey. Okay, and I want you to know, even if you don't have the cards, I've had people go through it and kind of go, oh, I didn't even know there was a deck. So there you go. A couple things I want to say. Oh, this is really important because I do talk about it in this book, neutral observer. You know, I want to say that neutral observer is completely different than detachment. You know, because people say, well, I am a neutral observer. I'm completely detached from that situation. And I'm like, that's not neutral observer. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, a neutral observer says, wow, I'm really angry about that. Okay, I'm angry. You acknowledge your anger, you notice it, you acknowledge it, you take no action on it, and you go, I think I'm gonna go do the dishes now. And you just allow yourself to be in that state of anger. And we acknowledge in neutral observer that we are in a state. We're not angry, because that's not defining who we are. We're in a state of anger. Okay, I'm in anger right now. And that's okay. You know, the less we make meaning of things, the more we can accept who we are and have that kind of free flow spiritual recognition in the world of really doing what we want, which is honoring each other and being great with ourselves, you know, actually waking up happy, which was something I didn't know before. So that's really a great thing. So when you look at, and I'm on page 15 of the toolkit, it is slightly different if you have the Kindle, just so you know. And it says set your intention for the week. Now, and I think I covered this kind of, I suggest you read it just for a different point of view, because I'm going to paraphrase how I see it, but then you might see something in here that's completely different. And I want you to post below here on YouTube what you notice that's different. I am totally fine with that. I think that'd be great, because then I can go, oh yeah, that's a good point. You know, I don't pretend to know everything about these fables. I don't pretend to know everything about this work. You know, so many people have done the study with this work, and as we work together and they learn more, they're like, well, it's really this. And I go, oh, that's great, because it came through me, not to me. I don't own it. We all do. It's really, that's what a good universal concept is. It's something that I can say, well, you know, bring you to it, because you matter. And that's what will come up more and more. Now, you're going to notice that every Monday there is always read the fable. And that's the whole key to it. I really encourage you, if you do nothing else, read the fable. Oh, and did I mention to read the fable? The reason the fable is so important is because in the small book that comes with the cards, there's a small legend, okay? And the legend is just tiny. It's basically a cliff note of what the full fable is saying. There may be full characters in the fable that you will never catch in the card deck. So you're going to get the basic way to read there, and you'll kind of be able to, the idea was to just jump into the reading. Here, you're going to jump into the depth of yourself and how you relate to that card and create an understanding of it that's unique to you. And I can tell you, I can look at a reading and someone else can look at a reading and we can see it completely different, and they're both right. And it's really amazing when I've worked with some of my master readers who went through all the trainings and stuff. I've sat down and go, wow, how'd you get to that? You know? So when I say this to you, look at the most important part is the fable. Tuesday is going to give you the color connection. And one of the things I want to say that's not in the book, because you can read the color stuff. Every week, you know, there's a color thing on Tuesdays. You're going to notice that, for example, with red, there are 7 red cards. I want you to notice that the order of the cards is also going to have an energetic chakra order. Think about this for a moment. Therefore, that first red card, which is renewal, is always going to be a double red. It's red, but it's also in the first position. So when you look at it that way, it's a super strong red card. Why does that matter? Well, when you look at the second card in red, that second card is going to have the second chakra shading with it. So it's going to be a red card that becomes a little emotional, right? It might have to deal with emotions from your family of origin and in your roots. The third red card, so it's in order, right? So the third red card will be maybe about your thinking and planning and what you learned from your family of origin. Now, where is that information? We have to go back, and this is why I wanted to give you the prequels. We go back to the chakra overview on page 10, and it begins to tell you what all the chakras mean. So when we get into the 7 chakra in order, and I'll be talking about like renewal being a double red, and the second card being a red with the orange chakra shading because of the position, all the way up to the 7th position in the red cards. So when we look at that, that has a particular energy that's going to flow through it. So it's very important that I give you that, because you're not going to know that unless I tell you. And that's some stuff that's just a little bit advanced. So that said, remember that I'll be going over it, but the way to refer to it is always in that chapter. It is going to be on page 10. It's the one that says chakra overview, and that's in the toolkit itself. So Wednesday is the journal journey, and that's your private time, and it's kind of in here it says it's about, you know, if we've been brought up in a challenging childhood situation, it may be about survival. Journaling does help. It does bring things onto the page. And it's different for everybody. Some people love to journal. Some people don't at all. I'm not a journaler. I'm a meditator. So it really just depends on what works for you. And I think everything's viable. Okay, so I'm gonna have to sip my water because that's what I do. You know, you'll see me in all the trainings if you do them sipping water. Okay, Wednesday, journal journey. Thursday is make a connection. Now this is how the entire toolkit came together. And I want to be very clear with you that the card deck and the toolkit at one time were all together. It was a book, I think. We couldn't do it. The program with Watkins was, they wanted people to be able to pick up the cards and read them right away, which you can do with the deck itself. I felt that learning the fables were the tools behind, and like I mentioned in a prior video, all about that story about how the toolkit came to be. Again, I do think it's helpful to watch the videos so you get the information, the insider information. Now, Thursday becomes very important if you're working with a team, and I really encourage you to grab a friend or 2 or 3 and perhaps meet on Thursday nights. Okay, buddy, my dog wants to go. And you know, on Thursday nights, and do the exercise that's here. That's how we developed. Okay, buddy. That's how we developed these exercises, because we would meet, we'd read the fable, and then I would kind of intuitively come up with a group exercise. But you know, there's always one person who says, you know what, this week I just want to write about it. I'm not in a place where I really want to energetically work with others. That was fine. So that's why I created the solo exercise in there. So you're going to see the solo exercise, and you're going to see the group exercise, the group activity. I love doing this as a group. I love doing it in person. And one of the things people have been asking about with this is, oh, can we have a Facebook page? Oh, can we? But the amount of work it takes to put all that together is just way too much. So it's because I'm doing this as a gift to you, I want to make sure that you get the information. And if you choose to do a group and have a group of people together, like let's say 4 or 5 people, I will have you contact my assistant, and I'll be able to jump into your group at least once during the time you're meeting, and I'll do that as a gift for you. And we can do it on Skype or something. Okay, so I love the group exercise. To me, it's what made all the difference in my world when I was working with my original mastermind groups. You know, one woman, the Joy card actually has a really cool exercise, and it's all about getting up and pretending you're on a TV show and talking about what you've accomplished. So you have to be on your feet and just do it. What's great about that is one woman literally pretended she was on, I forget what show, I don't know if it was Oprah, but at that time. And she chose to accept her Academy Award. And I want you to know that I think it was about 5 years later, she did accept an Academy Award. So it was really interesting to see the progression of the seed she planted in that Joy card into what actually happened. So don't underestimate the power of the groups in these fables. To me, that is the key to really unlocking what they mean for you and the team. And when I say team, I'm getting truth bumps. I love working with others. I love doing this in person. I would suggest you pick a night of the week, whether it's Sunday night or Thursday night. Do the group activity together. Now here's something also. Friday is the meditation, and then Saturday and Sunday, don't do anything. I really say, you know, I feel a lot of times and this is true with readings, so I'll give you this tidbit as we start the wrap up of this week. one of the things that becomes very important is that, oh gosh, I'm sorry. Owen keeps crying. One of the things that's very important in this is that I don't put a button on readings. So when I'm reading for someone, I don't then, sometimes there is no answer. Sometimes it's that space that needs to be there for my client or the person I'm facilitating to process their own answer. Because if I feel the pressure to finish it, it means my brain is trying to make it okay for them. And we can't. The more we let people have their own feelings, the more they'll find their answers. And that's how I feel with you. So I love when people do this work without me as well, because I think that when we struggle through something, we find our solution. And so a couple of tips I'm going to give you to get through this. Next week, we are going to begin with the renewal card. I will be talking about that. I'll be talking about some of the esoteric meaning, and I'll also give you some thoughts to work with over that week. But for this week, I really want you to get and decide, do you want to do this journey on your own? Do you want to bring somebody in? And the other thing I want to say about this is really look at the idea of darkness, dawn, and light. That there's three aspects to every fable, every card. So if you're playing with the cards, notice that it's not just a joy card. It's got three aspects. It's either dawning on someone, they either don't see that they have joy, or they're giving it away, or they just can't feel it, or they're experiencing it in their life. And the thing is it's better to be honest than to be right. So that's where I'm going to leave you with that. I'm not going to put a button on this. I'm going to say we will begin with the geranium card next week. I do encourage you, though, catch up to where we are. And we are leaving off on, do you believe I'm doing this? Hold on. All right, oh, my dog. On page 17. Now, one thing I want to say about this. I don't want you to feel, and this is something I don't want you to have to, let me put it this way. I don't want you to quit because of a feeling. If you're going to feel overwhelmed and like you can't do it, come anyway, because that's when the biggest breakthrough is coming. When you're like, I don't get this, I'm going to quit. Just, so what? You don't get it. Just say, oh, I don't get it. And then just show up anyway. If you watched my video about, sometimes people should share things in anger, you can just go, so what? I don't get it. And okay, I'm not understanding, and I'm really in the pissed off mode because this material doesn't make sense. And I promise you, at some point in this journey, you are going to experience, I don't get this. And you know what? I know I do. I know there are times I go, I don't know what to say about this card. And I just sit with it and I allow it to be. And then I go walk my dog, which I'm going to do right now. So that said, please get the toolkit if you don't have it so that you can really follow along on the journey. It is available on Kindle. It is available on Amazon. You can get it super quick there. And I want to say to you that personally, I love having the book. If you're an online person, get the Kindle and make sure you have a journal because you'll want to do some writing as well. The thing is, this book is a magical journey into you. And I hope that today's little info in week 1, we did it, you did it, was helpful. And so all you have to do is drop your shoulders and just read through what's in here for the week, and that's it. And by the way, never punish yourself for missing something. Never, 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 never. It's okay that you did. Just kind of shrug your shoulders and go, I missed it. And that's okay. So we're going to have a lot of fun this year. And the first thing I want you to do with setting an intention as I leave you is, what is it you're looking to create this year? What is it that has eluded you? And just in your heart of hearts, get honest with yourself. And we're going to take the toolkit journey to look at that and to dissect it. One thing I want to say to you is we're going to stay with what you pick. So if you start with, well, I want this, but then you go, oh, I want this because it seems like a shiny coin. Really pick the things that has most been something you really come back to again and again and again. And I want to say to you that whatever you choose, make sure that it's something that you have burned to do for a long time and that it's about you. And there we go. I'll see you next time. Everyone, have a great week. I'm just turning this off. Have a great week, and I look forward to connecting with you on this journey. Red is next. Remember, root issues, we're going to talk about that at the beginning of next week.